YouTube, Matt here. I am making a video today to show you guys my air setup for my train horns. I've been in contact with a fellow who is restoring a Leslie 3 chime, and so just making a video to help him out. And I figured, you know, it might come in useful for other people getting started out in the great hobby of horn collecting. Just a little disclaimer. I do not claim this to be the best way to do an air setup for a train horn. It is a setup that, given my budget, my limited storage space, the size of my vehicle, it works well for me. So anyways, the first thing I want to... Here, I'll just get the camera off the tripod here. The first thing that is very important is airflow. Much more so than PSI. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that everything from the tank port to the valve to your air lines are all 1/2 inch. Especially with Leslie's. Leslie's are big air hogs. They need lots of air, so a 1/2 inch airline will do that. So what I have here is I have my 2 air tanks. Now these I purchased at Walmart actually as a portable tire filling tank. They're 7 gallons apiece, and I got kind of lucky because they do have, like I said, 1/2 inch ports on them. This is the little tap that normally came on the top of the tank. It has a spot on it here. You can kind of see where you can fill it up at a gas station from the tire hose there. Got an air gauge. And then there's a 1/4 inch port right here that I've just put a plug in. That's where you'd put the tire hose in. So anyways, what I have on my tanks here is 1/2 inch T going into the tank port. On one side I got the tire valve, and then on the other side I got 1/2 inch ball valve and a garden hose connection. Now I used to use 1/2 inch quick connects like this. However, the 1/2 inch quick connects are a 1/4 inch diameter inside, which is kind of restrictive, so the garden hose connectors are a 1/2 inch, so there's less restriction. And I found that as long as you have the neoprene gaskets inside the garden hose connectors, you don't lose any air. So anyways, on one tank, I have 1/2 inch T, 1/2 inch ball valve to shut the tank off, of course, because the garden hose valves do not. And then on the other tank, I have 1/2 inch port, 1/2 inch T, similar as the first, ball valve, garden hose filler. On the other side, though, I have another T going to a pressure gauge and another valve. And how I have this is I can hook the 2 tanks together. And then here's my compressor too, and I just got a little fitting on it that allows it to go from a 1/4 inch quick connect up to garden hose fittings. This is something I actually salvaged off an old water supply. Anyways, I'll put the camera back on the tripod to show you guys how this all sets up here. Okay. Now the first thing I do, of course, is you got to fill up your tanks. So what I have here is I have a little short piece of 1/2 inch hose. I just screw it onto the compressor, screw the other end into the tank, open up the tank valve, turn on the compressor, fill it up, move the hose to the next tank, and voila, there you go. Once both tanks are filled and of course shut off, I move everything into my car and then go to my test location and set it up. Now, how you set it up for the horn blowing? Of course, I have all the valves on the tank shut off. I'll first take this hose, connect the 2 tanks together, and then I have my second hose into the tank. And then on the end of that hose, I have a ground white valve. Okay, now on the horn, what I do for the horn is I have, oh, look at that, is I have this fitting here, which is a hose connector into a sleeve into a brass pipe, because I wasn't able to find a female threaded hose connector. To hook up the horn, I thread the pipe into the base of the horn. Just hand tightening is enough, just for, you know, single test or demonstration, whatever. Take a rubber horn flange gasket. You can get these, do a Google search for Buell air horns. You can get these for $5 a piece. Way cheaper than you can get them from Nathan. Slide that on there. Line up the holes. And then, actually, wait, we don't do that quite yet. The horn stand right back here is something that I built out of an old table. I just drilled holes in it for the bolts and for the air pipe. So you slide your bolts in. Take the horn. Place it on the stand. Once you got one bolt in there, you can not hold it anymore. Tighten all the nuts together. Turn this so you can see it a little better. And then from there, I take my hose connector, screw it onto the pipe coming out from the horn. And just as a side note, you don't have to use these little rubber flange gaskets. I like it because it helps to prevent the steel horn stand from chewing up the aluminum manifold. But you can do a setup without them. And then from there, screw the ground white into the horn connections. And there you go. So, just to give you a close-up, I got tank 1, all half-inch fittings, open the ball valve, and these tanks are empty right now. Hose number 1 going into tank 2, open the valves, going into hose 2, to ground white, into the base of the horn. Now, the bonus of this system is that everything is pretty small. The tanks, all the fittings and stuff all fit in the trunk of my car. The horn goes in the passenger seat and the horn stand goes in the back seat. And the benefit of this system is that I have 14 gallons of air instead of 7, and when I eventually move on to a bigger and better tank setup, I'm planning on having two 30-gallon tanks eventually. I can just take these taps off and screw them into the new tank. But there you go, that's how you have it set up. And then I'll, on the end of this, I'll add a video showing this same exact setup with this horn. Just a little word of caution though. Since the valve is right underneath the horn, which that's a good place to put it instead of putting it on the tank, because that way it has a better, the horn has a better response to the valve. You don't have any lag because of going through a long air line or that. When you're sitting here with a air horn, train horn right in your face, you need to wear hearing protection. Otherwise, you're not going to walk away from that having any hearing left. So, yeah, that's my setup.